let's move on to somebody else that also isn't really perfect, wonderful. Not exactly the best example of a Democrat. John Brennan, a Democrat, right? James Comey, socialist. A Democrat. Hillary Clinton, Democrat. Barack Obama, Democrat. Me, former Democrat, no longer registered Republican. Vote for me, 2020 something. Hunter Biden was on Channel 5 with Andrew Callaghan. Very interesting. My first question is, who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Who went in the Biden family and went, you know what? You should talk to the guy that goes and does illegal street racing with the Hamptons boys or whatever it's called. Remember, he went around and it was like a bunch of kids from New Hampshire or somewhere.
They were stealing Kia.
They were breaking into Kia.
The
Kia boys. How does that guy get this interview?
I think he's just a fan of him.
Here's the thing.
Which makes sense.
We've reached out. We've all, what I love about working here is that I don't think I've ever worked for. We talk about the beauty of the Trump administration and their transparency. I don't think I've ever worked for a more transparent company who tells you exactly what they're all about and what are we about, an open space for debate. Pat thrives on it. He loves it. We invite for every Steve Bannon that we invite on the podcast.
You had Anthony Weiner on the for an episode.
So it's every walk of life.
That right-wing extremist. You saw the list.
Yeah. So we try and open our studio open to both sides. And so we've invited Hunter Biden. We've invited Hillary Clinton. They're never going to show. But he shows up on this podcast. Weirdly done in somebody's garden.
Beautiful shot.
It was very well.
It's in the Garden of Eden with the original sinner.
Now, typically, I know from production, we avoid outdoor shoots. There's a lot of things that you can't control. The lighting, the weather, the wind, all of that. But for some reason, Hunter Biden decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to take the moral high ground and come out and disrupt this entire narrative about me being a crackhead that was drinking gallons of vodka a day by going out and doing an interview in which I talk about drinking gallons of vodka a day and then describe to people how to make crack cocaine. That was my favorite part of the interview. They're like, what's the difference between cocaine and crack? And he's like, well, I don't want to tell people at home how to make crack, but here's how you make crack. And he even tells you where you can go to make crack.
And why.
But the idea that this is the son of the former president of the United States, 51 years, Joe Biden dedicated his life to civil servantry. Hunter Biden proclaims that multiple times during this interview. But there's a bunch of clips. Connor, if you would be so kind. By the way, everybody, give a round of applause to Connor.
Yeah.
Working hard behind the scenes. The assets, the presentation, the podcast itself built by Connor.
The new haircut.
Connor, yes, and his nice haircut. Connor, could you kind of give us some play-by-play on the clips that we have here, since I don't know which ones we're going to play?
So this first one is going to be Hunter talking about the role of migrants in the United States and what he thinks are ideal jobs for them to be doing.
This is great. Can you imagine being so entitled? Now listen. I don't know that many jobs that illegal migrants can do because I'm not that well versed in a lot of things, but mostly employment, economy, and illegal migrants. But I gotta assume that they're worth more than what Hunter Biden describes them as. Here's the clip.
Before we get there, just one thing. Bear in mind, most people don't have the luxury, and I'll put it in quotes, of hiring illegals to do anything because most people operate within the confines of the law. But listen to what Hunter thinks about illegals.
For someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals?
Hey, listen, they can mow lawns too. They can also weed whack and trim. You're totally cutting out a whole section of the migrant skills. They can sell flowers by the freeway.
Wash
they
cars.
can pick fruit. They can wash cars. They can even
They can deal him his drugs. I mean, what he's actually saying is who washes his dishes, who cleans his room, who does his garden.
projection at the finest. First of all, the guy is worth millions of dollars, and what has he ever done? He sat on the board of Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company, despite having zero background in Ukrainian gas or energy. He became a world-renowned artist whose art was selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, yet he was never known to paint. The guy, the idea that he claims sober, this reformed crackhead who, let's not forget, his brother died of cancer. And then he hooked up with his brother's wife, a widow, allegedly.
Did he get her addicted to drugs as well?
There was
Or was
another
that
family
allegedly?
member that allegedly got addicted to cocaine. I don't know if it was Beau Biden's
wife.
widow.
Yeah, they do say in rabbinical law that you do marry the widow of your brother, but I don't think that's why Hunter Biden did it. I don't know. There's some biblical
Is
thing
there
about
somewhere
marrying.
in there where you finger her behind a dumpster while you're drinking a gallon of vodka and smoking crack? Because more than likely, that's what Hunter Biden was doing, in
I
my
don't know if
opinion.
that was an
I don't think he
actual-
was marrying
It's
her
also
because of
law
a
in
biblical
Islam.
sense.
I didn't know if that was an actual anecdote from his book.
I'm not joking. It is like
Man,
if your brother dies, the widow, you're in charge of taking care of her.
Wonderful.
Well, it's
I would-
different than
Yes.
marrying.
I mean, yes, marrying and
take,
banging.
full-
If I-
I was being sorry. I don't care. The religious thing, set that aside. That was just a joke.
that a
The
joke?
only thing he's missing is a cigarette in his hand and being in an AA meeting, if that, or being on a coke bender. I made the joke. This is like an outtake from Boogie Nights. You know when Roller Girl and the mom were doing
Yeah.
coke and they're in this room, there's no light, and they're all freaking out and having their schizo thoughts. What the mother, these fucking guys? Who washes your fucking toilets and cleans your fucking
right.
house and does your?
You know who else? It's like Colin Farrell from Horrible Bosses. You ever see that?
Yeah, but I forgot.
I'm gonna have a very unpopular opinion right now.
You love Hunter Biden.
No, I think he's onto something. All right.
Oh, he's on something.
No. But I think it is true that not most people that do those services they're not, there's a lot of them that are not here legally because there's not a system to get help. To get people that don't have a college degree to come to America to do all those jobs. All right. So that's a reality. All right, most of the people that get the H-1B visa and they get all those type of visa, they either come here with money or a degree or everything. So getting that lower class help in America is that's how it goes. All right, because they don't have a legal way to get in. Second of all, and I see where he's coming from. Like I grew up with two maids in my house. All right. And my mother, she always bragged that we kept our maids, national. Like there were Chilean maids in Chile, and she was always proud of that we weren't bringing in illegal Peruvians or Bolivians into her house. All right, it was her bragging right. But the thing is that the credit card culture of everyone being able to access everything, everyone being served, is completely distorting. Like the actual means that the actual level and means that people can live by. All right. Not everyone should be served. Not everyone should go to restaurants. That in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance was reserved for the upper echelons of society. So the way you need to push wages down for everyone to be served, to everyone to be able to go to nice hotels, for everyone to be on a plane, it makes it very expensive because you can't have someone on a living wage do those jobs.
Not to jump down your throat. What he's describing is not employing immigrants. He's talking about exploiting illegals.
Yeah, cheap
he's
labor.
talking about modern day slavery. You get people in the country.
Shit, I've done that.
No,
I've employed. I needed to. I had a very large shed. We've talked about my shed and how much time I
Yeah.
spend in it.
Every
I
weekend.
needed to pour a cement pad, and unfortunately, I don't know for a fact that the people that showed up to pour the pavement were illegal migrants. I can tell you that none of them spoke English. And a truck pulled up and 12 tiny little brown guys jumped out of that truck. And within 2 hours, I had a full cement pad in my backyard as well because they had extra concrete. They also poured me a nice front porch in the front. All in, $2,500. Do you know how much the estimates I was getting from other contractors were?
$10,000.
Between $6,000 and $8,000.
Wow.
So illegal migrants are here. They're part of our economy. They're part of the business. I'm going to use them. You're a dummy if you don't. Do I want my money to go to an American contractor? Yeah, but guess what? The American contractor's robbing me blind when he's charging 3 times.
No, because you don't deserve that. You don't deserve it. All right, you don't have the actual means without engaging on exploitative behavior of people that can't afford to live.
I'm a pig.
You're not a pig, bro.
Just wait until it breaks and you have no warranty from a company.
He's exposing something that is real. That's true.
No,
there's 10 of them living in a single apartment, and that's the only way we can get things as cheap. And we're paying it the most expensive price for getting cheap labor and cheap goods.
No, but
the rise of China, illegal immigration. I think people should get back to work to doing their own.
But what you are describing, Rob, is operating within the system. What Hunter here is talking about is the policy that allows for it. And so, you're here. Someone gives you a lower quote. You're not asking for documents, and you're not bringing them in illegally so that you can get a cheap.
No, I
deck.
proudly. If there's any illegal migrants looking for work, I will hire you.
But when you hear the Adam Kinzingers of the world say, "Yeah, you know why there were so many Haitian immigrants, illegal aliens given TPS in it wasn't Springfield. What was it? Ohio.
Bakersfield."
No, I forget. Oh, my goodness. It was in Ohio. You know why they're there? Because nobody wants to work at the factories of these big companies. Well, first of all, bullcrap. But you know what it's called when you bring in people who don't speak the language, who are not mobile because they don't have licenses, who you can exploit for undervalued labor? That's called modern-day slavery, period. They're saying the quiet part out loud right now. Whether or not you employ someone who does it cheaper because they're here illegally and you're paying them cash, that's between you and them, and you take your chances. This is policy, and it's Democrat policy, and what's her face there? Jasmine Crockett said it best. We done picking cotton. We need a new era of slaves right now, and that's where they take illegals from and exploit them for all they can get.
That was a good Jasmine Crockett. I didn't know you did impressions, but do it again. I'm going to close my eyes.
I can't. In fact,
do it again, and I'm going to guess who you are.
We are done picking cotton, is what she said at the end.
Morgan Freeman?
Viva, bro, I sound horrible, but you know what I'm saying? Things, they cost something. A living wage is a living wage. All right, and not everyone.
If you did not have illegals to exploit, who did not speak the language, who were being kept
couldn't
literally
access
in human.
that.
No, you would actually pay it. Working in the field is not necessarily a life career. Working as a server is not necessarily a dishwasher. It's not a life career. You do it as a young person. You learn how to work. You learn responsibility, and you move on.
That's
it's a training
very
stage.
true. That's very true.
Right now, it's gone from a training stage of life to. If nobody in America wants to do it for $6 an hour, so we're going to bring in illegals who don't speak the language and traffic them and their children.
Part of this is to hide inflation, because since we got off the gold standard and started printing money, they tried to hide inflation by offshoring jobs to China and importing immigrants to do things cheaper.
It's all connected.
No, I agree, but even offshoring to China, I believe, is exploiting of slave labor in a foreign country based on their laws. So
how do you avoid that? By making it illegal for an American company to create jobs in China?
Tariffs is one way, and
but I don't think that's going to solve
back.
the problem, though, because that's just making them move from China to, say, not Singapore, Vietnam.
Well, no, but then you got to tariff Vietnam too, because when it comes to certain things like solar energy, China's offshoring to the other countries to cloak the fact that it's still China manufacturing it. Yeah. Tariffs is one way, and also, people will pay for ethics, but the idea that we can't, at this point in time, through technology, automate certain stuff and manufacture it cost effectively at home. Maybe I have the luxury of saying I'll pay a little more for made in America, and when I go out and get stuff, I to the extent possible.
Yeah.
A fishing rod that's made in America, I have one. It was great. Yeah. All of this cheap crap is made in China through whatever labor they have there. But a separate issue here. What he's describing right now, once upon a time, was frowned upon. Remember when Joel Osborne said on the show with The View, Mr. Trump, if you kick out the immigrants, who's going to wash your toilets? And then they all went nuts on her. Well, now they're saying it proudly. Jerry Nadler, who's going to pick the fruits and vegetables that are going to rot in the fields, they are proudly espousing modern-day slavery, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, let's play. There's more clips. I had no idea this was going to devolve into an argument about illegal immigrants and wages. I was hoping we could learn more about how to make crack cocaine, which is why I watched the interview. What's the next clip that we have, Connor?
Well, if you want to learn how to make some crack cocaine, here's Hunter explaining the difference between crack and powder cocaine.
Thank you so much.
No. Do you know what I mean?
Because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Yeah. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Oh, in that sense? Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? They don't know how
Yeah.
similar the chemical compounds are.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
Look
That's
how
it.
confident he is.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly, vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Jeez. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, you know, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing.
Not exactly, but close to it. Guys, it's a little bit different.
What
but anyway.
dimension and world are we living in that this conversation is even happening? This is insane to me. The idea that anybody within the Biden family thought this was a good idea. And my question, why? Why is he out there giving this weird interview? It's not like he had anything to promote. He's not out there pushing a book. He's not selling his artwork. He doesn't have a documentary in the works. Why did Hunter Biden agree to do this interview, and who authorized him to go and do it?
I was going to say, I think he definitely got paid to do it, one, and I think he just genuinely likes the content that Andrew puts out, because he's like, oh, yeah, I love your channel. I've been watching it for a long time. So I think, and who's going to stop him?
Did you notice what he was trying to do there? He was like trying to say, oh, no, I don't do the dirty crack. That's actually cleaner than cocaine. So my disgusting habit that led to my teeth falling out of my face was actually quite elitism. You just don't know the difference between crack and cocaine, you fools. It's crazy. But interesting thing, just from an addict perspective, the idea of euphoric recall being enough to trigger a relapse is an interesting thing that I didn't pick up on. But no, dude, he's just trying to justify his own drug abuse to say, no, I was just as elite as the line-snorting cokeheads. You just don't know the difference between crack and cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm a snob.
Humberto.
I mean, look, he has nothing to lose. To your question, he has nothing to lose. There's no Democrat Party. Like, they have no leaders.
He might run.
No chance.
He could be president.
There was literally an article that came out yesterday in Politico. I believe it was Politico.
He says it on the interview.
Where they said, well, no, this was Hunter Biden is the left's Joe Rogan. Remember how Pat has been saying the left is looking for a Joe Rogan after they lost their Joe Rogan? Well, now there are people out there claiming that it's going to be Hunter Biden who's going to fill the void to tap into the young male audience that the Democrats desperately
All right,
need.
Rob, you do a lot of booking. Start thinking this guy plus someone else. Wouldn't you watch it? This guy plus the CIA agent we had the other day.
Who? Hunter?
Hunter.
I'd watch it by himself, but I just don't understand the motive for him to go and do this.
Hunter and
to
Laura
go and
Loomer.
talk about all of these demons that he has held, that he has been that have been played out in the public, but they're very private matters that should have been held or dealt with behind the scenes. They played out in front of for the whole world to see very publicly, and then to go relive that during this interview. Just for me, it's like I don't understand the motive.
It's brazen narcissism, is what it is. He wants to show the world that he's the smartest guy in the room.
And they can't do shit to him.
And they silenced him for the last year of Biden's presidency. It's just narcissism to go out and do it because he can.
Do you have the cocaine clip by any chance, Connor, where they discuss the cocaine?
The other cocaine
found in the White House.
Oh, and by
I
the
do.
way, incidentally, before you, what I would maybe watch as a podcast: Hunter Biden, Stormy Daniels, a duo, and Michael Cohen, like crackhead, bimbo, and moron, and let's just see what that does. That would be great content.
Let's play this clip. This is where Hunter is confronted about the cocaine that was found in the White House, if you remember, because a lot of things get memory hold. It was towards the end of Joe Biden's presidency where they found what was described, I believe, as a dime bag filled with cocaine inside, was it the West Wing of the White House?
Yes, I believe it was the West. It was the one that had the most security in terms of explaining how the hell it got there.
And here's Hunter Biden explaining whose cocaine that may have been.
No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Sorry, wrong clip.
They're opening up an investigation to cocaine that was found in a cubby outside the West Wing of the White House.
I think it was Don Jr.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about old White House.
Yeah, when my dad was there.
Oh, so they just got to blame you automatically.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally going to do an FBI, another congressional investigation, because they've convinced themselves that it had to be me, that there was a little tiny. And I guess my point of even bringing it up is that no.
Rubs his nose.
I have been clean and sober since June of 2019, and I have not touched a drop of alcohol or a drug, and I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of that.
And why would you bring cocaine to the White House?
Why would I bring cocaine to the White House, stick it into a cubby outside the Situation Room in the West Wing when I wasn't there? Anyway, who the fuck knows?
And politicians, I mean, they do blow, right?
Oh, I was right. Come on,
cliffhanger.
What a tease,
Man.
No,
Yes.
I'm surprised he didn't say, I just told you I did crack, not cocaine. It was obviously wasn't mine, moron.
I'm just at this point. Why not just own it? Anybody believe that it wasn't Hunter Biden's cocaine that was found in the
Who
White
the
House?
hell else could it be?
No, I mean, in fairness, it could be a lot of people. They would probably know better than bringing it in. But whenever anyone says, no, I didn't do it, and answers the accusation with a question, why would I have done that? Like, that's the duper's deception. Like, no, of course I didn't fucking do it is the answer. Why would I have done it and left it in the cubby outside the West Wing? Because I think I can get away with murder and probably have at some point in my life.
And we live in a very sheltered, clean environment, but everywhere else that I worked in, like cocaine is very ubiquitous. Like everyone does cocaine.
So weird to me because look, I was in a fraternity in college. I partied in high school. To my knowledge, I've never even seen cocaine in person. I know that people find that hard to believe, but I was always more the guy that was like, oh, they're smoking weed. I'll go hang out with that crew. Than I was, let me go beer bong this funnel that's from the top story of the frat house and has a plastic tube all the way down to the first floor. I wasn't ever involved in that kind of stuff. So I was kind of more with the stoner crowd than I was the partying with the booze and the coke crowd. So I'm 38 years old. I don't think I've ever seen cocaine in person. So it's so weird to hear that it's so prevalent in not just personal life, but also people using it in a business capacity.
At least what I've seen from the business world, the politics world that I've been in, and especially the advertising world.
And the league. I mean, look, I've never done cocaine. I will never do cocaine. I'm certain my heart will explode the first time it happens. I've never seen people doing it either. But within the legal community, I'm 46.
I was raised. Do you remember Len Bias?
Yeah.
The basketball player from the Celtics that got drafted in the first round in like 86. This was the story. This was what the DARE program was built around, was the Len Bias story. Guy gets drafted out of high school, goes to college, or out of college by the Celtics, one of the first or second or third picks in the first round of the draft, goes out that night, celebrates, does cocaine, heart stops, and he dies. And that was the story that was pounded into my head from as early as I can remember about cocaine was you don't end up like Len Bias. So for me, it's always been, when you say my heart's going to explode, I'm going to die, that has always been my fear when it comes to that drug, is what I've been indoctrinated with since I was very young. That's why I asked how old you are.
It's a legit concern. I mean, it does cause high blood pressure and erratic heart rhythms.
The other thing, Rob, that if you're not in the known, cocaine is very invisible. It's very invisible. Matter of fact, I won't throw anyone under the bus. Some of my bosses at the ad agency, I will notice when they were off coke.
Oh, so you knew they were on it so much you could tell when they weren't on it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's been times where I've been around people that I'm like, there's something wrong here. But I've never been that deep into drugs that I can guess or tell.
It doesn't produce a smell. It doesn't produce smoke. It's relatively fast, easy to consume, very private. Someone walks in a bathroom, 10 seconds later, they come out. There's no smell. You just wipe the counter. And it's like cocaine is very invisible.
But they have that sniffly habit, though, where they're like...
Oh, yeah, they do get
They do say, I remember with Charlie Sheen, they say like over time, the nostril that you snort from becomes bigger than the other ones. And it's certainly inside, eviscerates the
Have you ever seen, Connor, could you pull up Artie Lang, please? I don't know if you guys know who Artie Lang is. Artie Lang, comedian, was a co-host on the Howard Stern show. He had a very long, detailed history with cocaine and heroin. In the late 2000s, after he left the Howard Stern show, he was doing cocaine. Zoom in and let's show his his nose.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's awful because he's hilarious and I love him and I've met him. One of the nicest, sweetest men in the entire world. I grew up listening to him. His nose collapsed in on itself because he did cocaine that had been the glass had somehow found its way into the cocaine. He snorted the cocaine and the glass. It went in, infected his nose, and caused his entire nose to collapse. This guy was in movies in the 90s. This guy's on TV shows.
That's the best they could figure. I mean, not to judge.
Well, he's also an addict, so he can't go get facial reconstruction surgery because they would have to give him medicine to deal with the pain afterwards, and he doesn't want to get rehooked.
Everybody remember that scene from Kindergarten Cop was the one that traumatized me from childhood. Was the girl in the movie snorted cocaine that had glass in it and then died.
Oh my God!
Unless
Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop. It was the scary intro scene with the girl, and then she snorts cocaine, and like blood comes out of her nose, and I think it had broken glass in it. Fact check me in real time,
Are you
people.
thinking about Pulp Fiction?
No. Oh no. That was old. No, I'm Kindergarten Cop
With Arnold
Schwarzenegger, and that bad guy, the dude. Dude, okay, everyone's gonna look it up.
That was a kids movie.
It was, but I remember that, and it traumatized me for life.
But
Kindergarten Cop. Okay, let's see.
I'm not seeing it.
In the legal community. No, it'll come up. I'm fairly certain it's the intro scene, the beginning scene of the criminality. It was a blonde girl. There was a young guy with her. What was I about to say? In the legal community as well, cocaine is pretty prevalent. But I mean, if you don't go out at night, you stay home, you keep your schmeckle in your pants, you get married, have kids, and don't futz around, you can avoid a lot of problems in life.
All right, I know we got to wrap up, Connor. Is there any other clips you want to show, or are we good?
So, your call. We can either watch him talking about Biden being on Ambien or watch him cursing out George Clooney.
Ambient.
Ambient?
Yep.
Yeah.
Clooney or Ambient? Ambient. All right, the panel says Ambient. Roll it with the Ambient, please.
I'll tell you what, I know exactly what happened in that debate. He flew around the world, basically, the mileage that he could have flown around the world 3 times.
Yeah.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as shit. They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights. And it feeds into every fucking story that anybody wants to tell. And Jake Tapper with literally how many anonymous sources. If this was a conspiracy, Andrew, you know this, somehow the entirety of a White House in which you literally living on top of each other has kept their mouth shut about, like what? And what's conspiracy?
Yeah.
That Joe Biden got old? Yeah, he got old. He got old before our eyes.
Well, so first of all, the claim that, it'd be a conspiracy, you'd have to have everybody that's living in the White House be silent about it. You're seeing all these people come out from the White House who aren't being silent about it. Karine Jean-Pierre has a book coming out at the end of at September, I believe. We've been in touch with the book publisher about having her on the podcast to promote the book. I'm not a big fan of her, but I'll do it because it's best for the audience. The best way for the audience to learn about what was going on from the Biden White House is to have people that were in the Biden White House come on, as much as I dislike it. And then Vinny brought up this point yesterday on the PBD podcast, and it was a great point that I seem to have forgotten about. Let's not forget, where was Joe Biden the week leading up to that debate? He wasn't in the White House. He wasn't flying around the world. You know where he was for the week leading up? Camp David, prepping.
For 2 weeks.
He was on vacation. I thought it was a week, maybe it's 2. He was on vacation for at least the week leading up to the debate, and he was prepping. They were rehearsing. They were practicing. There's no way that the dude was on Ambien that day. He has dementia. Can we stop with the bullshit?
He might have been, because I think that they gave him stimulants like in times where they wanted him to perform well. Like at the State of the Union, he was like more alert than usual. I think they gave him stimulants for that to make him look good.
Lights.
And then
when they wanted methamphetamine that night, he pulled a Hitler moment.
And when they wanted him to seem like he was incompetent or seem like he was falling apart, they gave him the Ambient because they wanted to replace him. They did like a coordinated attack on him after that debate, like where all of CNN's panel was saying like, "Wow, that was scary. We gotta replace him now."
How disgusting! If those rumors are true, I remember there were reports that he was walking around the White House nude at times. There was also
Chasing
reports
his dog.
from the Secret Service that he would get lost in the closet of the White House. So meanwhile, the poor guy is in his 80s, and they're drugging him up to go speak, and then they're drugging him to go to sleep. It's like,
and telling you he's good for another 4 years. By the way, who hasn't chased their dog around the house naked from time to time, high on Ambien? I don't take Ambien either, by the way. But the explanation on its face doesn't make sense. He was flying around the world exhausted, So they gave him Ambien. You're exhausted. You don't need Ambien at that point. Just take a nap. I hadn't thought about the fact that if they did give him Ambien, it would have sabotaged. I did think that they laid up Joe Biden for that failure so he could be replaced because they knew at that point that he had to be replaced. But coming to the conspiracy, if there was a conspiracy, everyone keeping quiet in the White House, they did keep quiet for 4 years. They're only talking now. Some of them, the others are pleading the fifth, still keeping quiet. It was a conspiracy to hide his dementia, and whether or not they sabotaged him with Ambien or that's his cope for his dad being utterly incomprehensible that night, neither is a good explanation.
Have any of you done Ambien?
No, I want to. Because I can't, because I don't sleep well. I'm up multiple times a night. And like last night, I didn't go to bed until 12:30. I was up at 6. So I'm only getting 5.5 hours of sleep. And I'm also waking up in the middle of the night and either moving from the couch to the bed or going from the bed to the bathroom to pee. But I no longer get a full night's sleep. So yeah, I've wanted Ambien bad.
If you get woken up after you take Ambien, like you will look like Joe Biden. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. He's probably taking 6-7 pills. Pop one in. Oh God, I have the debate, and then he was on Ambien. Like it looks like an Ambien guy. Set aside like what he said. He got old before our eyes. All right. Anyone that has older family, grandmothers, mothers, the decline on it could be a year from going like fully operational, like member of society to someone you have to take care of. So, and 8 years is a long time.
My uncle, this is so weird. It's not dementia, but he went through health problems towards the end of his life. He was diagnosed with mad cow disease. I didn't even know you could still
the Jacob Creutzfeldt disease.
He got it. He served in the military in Germany in the 70s to 80s. Yes, it's awful, and it's quick. He was an anesthesiologist. He was putting people to sleep 3 months before he died, and then the rapid degeneration of that to the point where he couldn't move, he couldn't speak. You see this happening with Bruce Willis, right? Right now, they're talking about Bruce Willis can't read, speak, walk on his own. It's horrifying to hear, but it's like this. It goes so quick. And so, to your point, what you were saying about another 4 years of Joe Biden,
it was a lie. It was a lie, and they all knew it.
You know what would have happened? Joe Biden would have died in office. He has cancer. Nobody's even talking about the rectal cancer that he currently has. I don't believe Joe Biden's going. Unfortunately, I don't believe Joe Biden's going to be here with us for the long term. I certainly don't see him being here in 2028. So what? We would have had Kamala Harris be president, whether or not that election had gone the way that they were hoping by subbing him out and putting her in place. Yeah. She would have ended up president if they would have stuck with Biden, put him in office. He beats Trump. He dies 2 years in. Now we've got Kamala for 2 years and then another 4 after that.
Well, I think maybe I had my dark theory that the Butler, Pennsylvania attempt might have been on somebody else if he had gone further in, and then they play the sympathy vote to get the votes to come out for the election. Never mind. I won't entertain that Jean Le Carré novel. Don't do Ambien, by the way. The side effects are serious, and also if you have trouble sleeping and something helps you sleep, you will get addicted to it.
Now, you didn't give that same preface to crack cocaine. That's very interesting. Don't do Ambien, crack cocaine.
Well, no, because crack will make your heart explode. I mean, what are the other ones? They're like, LSD will make you go schizo first time. And what are the, I grew up also with my best friend's father was a criminal lawyer. One of the stories I grew up with was a dude who did coke for the first time, psychotic break, showed up to a woman's house naked with a crowbar and beat her to death.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, how do you defend that person? It's like, I don't defend him on his innocence. I defend him on attenuating circumstances, involuntary intoxication to some extent. But no, don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah,
Despite what Rogan says.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.